Please stand by for further details. We return you now to your regularly scheduled program.
Hello to those of you who are feeling called to this reading in particular, mystery reading number 718. Before getting into this reading, chances are that most of the people watching this video are not subscribed, so if you are a reoccurring viewer, you enjoy my work and would like to help support the growth of my channel, feel free to do so by sticking around, hitting that subscribe button down below, and ringing the notification bell next to it if you feel called to. My current goal is 500 subscribers, so I can have access to offering channel memberships, so if you do decide to subscribe and support my channel, thank you very much. So starting with interpreting the number 718, the number 7 is about wisdom, learning, growing, potentially healing. It feels like there's being light shined or shone on something. That made me think of Michonne from The Walking Dead, one of the characters in that TV show. The Walking Dead, for me personally, it's a spiritually significant show for me. And I'm not 100% sure why. I think there's like certain scenes that like really spoke to me. Maybe that could be true for you, and it doesn't even have to be The Walking Dead. It could be a different TV show or a different movie that resonated with you or had some messages in there that you may or may not have expected. Let me think for a second on this TV show. Okay, when I think about the name of it, The Walking Dead, it makes me think of people who are kind of just like in autopilot mode. They may not know, they let the world and their circumstances push them around instead of them pushing their circumstances in the world around. It makes me think of people who are comfortable, well, that's what they believe, even though it's not true, but they're comfortable with being small. Like deep down, like sure, comfort zone, yes, you can say they're comfortable, but deep down, it's very dissatisfying. So maybe there's something significant here about people who are like that. That's like, for some reason, like the universe and your spirit guides are shining a light potentially on those types of people, or maybe there's certain people that you're actually dealing with. It feels more general, like we're talking about the collective group of people that are like that rather than just one person, but it can totally resonate for you where you are dealing with somebody like that, and that could be confirmation for you. But yeah, the number 7, I always associate that with spiritual awakenings as well. You're learning something, to put it in the most general sense, or maybe you have already learned something and there's some wisdom here that you're being called to tap into and I'm hearing and utilize. Utilize is a fancy word. That's why I think it's interesting. But the number 1 is about trusting yourself. So whatever you're learning, trust that process, or whatever wisdom you're being called to tap into and use, trust that. I feel like you might know more than you give yourself credit for, because you don't validate yourself enough. I feel like I want to say more, but I'm going to keep it at that because it's kind of hard to put it into words. The number 8 is about letting go and remembering how truly connected everyone and everything is. So of course there's something here that you're letting go, either that's like helping you learn, or something that you let go already that you learned from. Maybe there's a similar situation here you're being called to go through, or manage or something like that based on what you've already learned in a similar situation in the past. So someone could definitely, that healing there is very obvious. And your healing's benefiting you in more ways than one, it feels like. The part where, of that number about remembering how truly connected everyone and everything is, it brings me back to what I was talking about with The Walking Dead. I'm trying to think. The Walking Dead. What is the opposite of walking? I feel like there's like some specific message here that I'm struggling a little bit to tap into. But I don't think it's really a coincidence that I was talking about the collective and then there was that message about how connected we are. Maybe these types of people that kind of just go with the flow in an unhealthy way, they bother you, and you're being reminded that all you have to focus on to do something about those types of people is making sure you don't become like that. Sure, you can't directly, maybe affect a specific person or a specific group of people, but that doesn't mean that you're not still standing up against, let's say, that type of lifestyle. We have to love people into seeing the truth, because if you try to force it, it comes off as control, and people don't like that, especially if they have ADHD. So maybe there's a certain person or a certain group of people who aren't as aware as they should be, and you're being called to be patient and let them come to that awareness on their own. Just like with thinking about the number 7, you had to come to your awareness on your own. Think about before you learned something that I mentioned before, or maybe something that you're learning. You just gotta let people learn. And I think maybe there's something here that you need to let yourself learn. It's like reflecting that. There's something, and that actually makes a lot of sense. There's definitely something here deeper that I think you could learn about what you already know. Whether you're learning something new and applying skills or knowledge from elsewhere or whatever. Adding up these numbers, 7 plus 1 is 8, 8 plus 8 is 16, 6 plus 1 is 7. Yeah, what you learned is really, really important here. So definitely trust yourself. I feel like that's really all I can say there. And if you're still learning, trust the process. It feels like the message from the number 1 is just really being confirmed here, combined with the number 7, which does kind of make it feel like the number 8 is singled out and is kind of bringing my attention, letting go. And maybe because that's not the most important message, because you already recognize there's something that you need to let go, or that we're all truly deeply connected and it's just about learning or trusting what you have already learned or something like that. I'm going to look deeper into your current situation by drawing out a card from the Magical Dogs Tarot. I'm thinking about someone who left a comment asking what dog was in reverse. I haven't replied to your comment because, man, I'll be overwhelmed sometimes just with life in general. But if you're watching this, and this could be, a message for somebody else who didn't leave that comment, and there's confirmation here for someone for that, because my eye just bothered me, and when my eye bothers me, there's something significant here about intuition. But dog upside down to me represents disloyalty. And if you don't know what I'm talking about by dog upside down, I pulled out a card that I had that said dog, and it was technically upright. And that was about loyalty, but reverse, it's disloyalty, but let me think. It's like It feels like there's something here about needing to be loyal to something, but you or someone else is disloyal. Maybe it's this person or this group of people. Someone here is disloyal to their worth and what they deserve. And I keep picking up on like something here about mirroring or reflecting, and maybe you somehow see yourself in these people, or these people see themselves in you, or something like that. Let me go ahead and pull this card here. Oh, I just dropped a bunch of them on the floor. We're not going to take any of these. Well, actually, no, we're going to take this one because it was the only one that was face up. So I have the Six of Pentacles. I'm getting a vision of this reading that I watched with the Hermit Tarot. Her dogs were in the background of her video. It was a white dog. In this tarot deck, the white dog for me, it's in the deck, it's on the Fool card and the Sun card. Two major powerful cards, at least compared to the minor arcanas. But with the Fool coming through, which I just got a vision of Il Matto, which I think means the Fool. I watched it. It's another card that came from another reader's reading, 13 Moon Tarot. I noticed that she was using cards where it seemed like the major arcanas were written in Italian, but the minor arcanas were written in English. It was either Italian or Latin, I'm not sure. But that's confirmation here that your ancestors are strongly present around the idea of letting something go and embracing, so letting something big go, but embracing something else that's also big and powerful. And with that sun energy, that's light, that's illumination. Oh my gosh, what was I saying about, light being shine on something or shown on something, bringing me back to The Walking Dead. Let me think. It feels like there's someone or some group of people here who don't see what you see, because they're not as loyal to yourself and what you deserve as they are. So maybe there's a message here to not take it personally. I think it's interesting we have the Six of Pentacles, because if you were around when I was, doing the 600s videos, 601, 602, etc., you should know pretty well by now that the number 6 is about unconditional love, at least for me. Remember, numbers and signs mean different things for everybody. But give me a second here. Totally forgot what I was talking about. I was talking about the number 6. Okay. Yeah, that number is about unconditional love for yourself or for those outside of you. And I feel like for whoever's watching this is for, sometimes it can be one or the other, but it's both. The more that you love yourself unconditionally, the more that you have the capacity to love others unconditionally. So how are you being hard on yourself? That makes it harder to be patient with someone or some group of people. Maybe there is something here about validation. You don't need validation from outsiders. Which, is really driving home that message with the number 1 about trusting yourself. You can trust what you know, what you have learned. You can trust your intuition. But make sure you know the difference between your intuition and your fears. For me personally, the difference seems subtle, but what has been the most helpful information I've gotten to be able to tell the difference is your fears are loud and they make you super anxious. Let's say it creates a lot of noise, a lot of overthinking. But your intuition is quiet. Even if it's something that you don't want to hear, It's just a knowing that you feel firm in and that you feel confident. But also, you could still be right and your intuition's right, and you don't feel confident. So there is a lack of confidence here for yourself, but you need to ask yourself, is the trust I have within myself, or for what I know, what I have learned, justified? Am I seeing things clearly? And if you know for a fact and you're just frustrated that you're not getting the validation that you deserve, maybe it's time to let go of that need for validation. I almost wanted to say Valentine's, which makes me think of the song Valentine by Mainskin, the Italian band. So there could be something here significant about Valentine's Day, or this is about a romantic situation for somebody. I'm noticing, just caught my eye, this dog here has this red cloth, it looks like, in its mouth. And it's making me think of 13 Million Tarot's messages around the red string. Because the reading that I watched, she had like this red bracelet on that caught my attention. I just burped now. And that's also a sign to let go. Only take what resonates, because some of these messages can come out vague. And if it's too vague where you don't know if you can trust yourself or if you shouldn't, maybe just let it go. But you do what you think you should do. There needs to be a balance here between give and take. It's either time to give more to yourself, trust yourself more, or give more to others and give people a little more, be a little more open-minded about what others have to say. And it could be both. Actually, I do feel it could be both, because of the fact that I felt that unconditional love needs to be for yourself and outside of yourself. Maybe there's a situation here where you're being called to have a little more patience, understanding, and communication. And it might be important for someone to hear that you might already be doing the right thing and communicating, but the type of communication that you want, it has to come down the line, because there's other things that need to be talked about before that. So it seems like in your situation, it's very clear here that you learned something, you are learning something, you're being called to trust yourself, to release, and to also trust how connected we all truly are in a situation where there's conflict or there's some sort of distance that you want to close, but it's going to take some time to clear up the communication or to close the distance. I'm going to start wrapping up this reading by drawing out a card, an index card from these index cards that I made myself. I'm going to use this to see what guidance your spirit guides in the universe, definitely your ancestors, have for you. With your ancestors coming through, it feels like, it always makes me think of like foundations. So this could be something happening at home, at work, something to do with your stability on the outside or your stability on the inside, your inner foundation that needs that trust in yourself and that faith in yourself, just as much as you trust and believe in the universe outside of you, And if you don't, you might want to take a deeper look at that. But the card that I have is, we have a bunch of Z's with some clouds. Sleeping. When I was talking about The Walking Dead earlier, I want to show you this. I want to hug you. So there's a person or a situation here who might just be misunderstanding you, and there's no malicious intent here. But when I was talking about The Walking Dead earlier, when I was thinking, what's the opposite of The Walking Dead? And I thought, the standing, well, obviously the opposite of dead is alive. But what is the opposite of walking? sitting. No, I think, let me think. You know what, I'm going to pull another one of these index cards to see, like, what are you trying to tell me about The Walking Dead? You have memories. This could be very specific, where there's like a character in that movie reflecting on memories. Maybe it's Michonne's character in particular. But if you've never watched that show, there could be a TV or a TV show or a movie where there's something significant about the memories, or a scene with memories. And if you don't resonate with, TV show or anything like that at all, it feels like The Walking Dead, it almost makes me think that there's an aching here. Like, someone here maybe used to be more alive, and now it feels like they're more dead. But, like, this is not in a literal sense, to be clear. I'm talking about someone who used to be full of life, but now something has taken that away from them, or a group of people, and you see it, and it hurts, and you want to do something about it, and you can. Maybe not directly, maybe you won't be the ultimate solution, but you can still make an impact over time. This sleeping also reminds me of dreams because of the clouds here. Maybe you need to pay attention to your dreams and what they're trying to tell you. And sometimes, in readings, there's your sleeping dreams and your waking dreams. So we're not talking about your aspirations. Definitely not. That's what I mean by waking dreams, things that you want to make happen that you're really excited for. This is definitely talking about your sleeping dreams because of the Z's. So pay attention to your dreams and what they're trying to tell you. Bust out a dream journal if you think you should, or maybe there's a dream that you had recently, or maybe it wasn't recent and there's just a specific dream. I believe one scene that stood out to me in The Walking Dead was, I think it was a dream, but I don't remember it so well because it's been so long since I've watched it, but it's like, I can't even describe it. It just feels like confirmation here that your dreams could be significant, or that scene, maybe you know what I'm talking about, and there's confirmation there. Or maybe it's a different TV show, different movie, or maybe that just doesn't resonate at all. And that's okay, but I also feel that you need to stop sleeping here on yourself, and maybe on other people. I feel like doubting and underestimating others comes from a place of doubting and underestimating yourself. So maybe you already know that someone is well-intended and they're trying your best, but your fears are kind of getting in the way of that, which again reaffirms that message of knowing the difference between your intuition and your fears. So there's a group of people or a certain person that you distrust, but you also do trust. So there's conflicting energies here. It makes me think that you need to make a choice to either trust this person or these group of people and trust yourself and how you feel about them, or let your fears take control, I want to say, of the narrative or of the situation. I feel more leaning towards the narrative because maybe your inner voice, your inner dialogue is creating these fears, like by telling yourself stories about these people that aren't even true, or this person that may not be true. Yeah, when I talked about a choice, and I just heard scelta, which means choice in Italian, your ancestors are confirming here that you need to make a choice because you deserve stability, emotionally and physically, in every way, and thinking of a choice, it instantly makes me think of the Lovers, which is a big choice because it's a major arcana, unlike the Two of Cups or the Two of Swords or whatever. And there's also the number 6 on the Lovers card. So make the choice that is rooted in self-love rather than self-destruction. There could be a choice here between self-love and self-destruction, and of course your ancestors are going to want you to choose self-love, because they're always going to want better for you than they had. You know, no matter how far back in history they go, they do definitely care about you. And I'm hearing DW. I'm pretty sure that's a character in a TV show that's like really old. Is it Ed, Ed, and Eddie? I don't remember. I don't know. But only take it if it resonates. It definitely feels like, in general, movies and TV shows pay attention to what spiritual messages or deeper messages could be there for you. Your guidance is to pay attention to your dreams, your subconscious, and your consciousness, what you already know. Pay attention to what you don't know as well, about yourself and about others. And what I mean by pay attention to what you don't know, be open to the possibility that you may not know as much as your fears might make you think you do. You know? Don't let your fears win, I feel like, is really all I can say.